Tech Balance here with another video. Welcome back. Today we'll be looking at a few quick calculations that you could run on any worksheet that you have, with the whole idea being to have a quick understanding of how formulas work, how to use the insert function wizard, and we'll also do some quick arithmetics by putting in formulas and not relying on the function wizard. If you like the channel, if you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's do this. So when you look at the dataset that we have here today, this specific dataset could be one for a food cafe where you have a few customers who are registered. I have tried formatting the data a little bit just to make it more appealing. Some random dates. You can always use the rand function to generate random numbers. For example, here I can say rand between. I want the lower one being, say, 0, and the maximum quantity I can have being 15. I will hit Control Enter to fill it up in that entire section. Now, once again, notice that my total price is pegged on the quantities that I have of the various items. My pricing is unique for all my items. So I will just hide the top bar for the home, and then we can get right to it. So first of all, for you to get the total sales, you're really going to look at this value, a summation. So this formula as well is going to be a sum. So the first summation, I will enter the formula manually. I will click and drag using my left mouse button over the range of data that I want to lock in, and I will lock that range of cells using F4, hit enter. Then the total quantities for this one, I'll use the insert function wizard, or we can always click here on the FX. Then I will just type in sum, enter, select summation, which is the formula that I want, and at this point I'll just delete this one. I'll tell it I want to select that range, click on F4 to lock the same, and it gets me the total quantities. Now notice that right now the sum is 101, but because I had randomly generated the quantities, anytime I do any calculation or any analysis, it's continually changing. So I will want to paste them as values just so that they do not change anymore. Yeah, so let's proceed. When you look at the formatting on total quantities, that is not the ideal formatting for quantities. Ideally, you want it to be just general, no specific, or simply a number. As for the currency, you can set your preferred currency. I will do the same with the count function. Now the count function is used to calculate numbers, to calculate items that are numeric in nature. So if I was to calculate this range and hit enter, it will not return anything. But if I change the same to my price items, which are numeric, hit enter, it returns the price items. Remember, once more, this is a count, so it shouldn't be pegged to any currency. I will just zoom out a little. It shouldn't be pegged to any currency. So I can always head back to the number tab and choose my formatting. Alternatively, if I want to retain the same formatting as my quantities section, I can select the quantities, total quantities cell, head over to Format Painter, then click on my preferred destination. Now, when you're counting non-numeric items, as we've seen, you cannot rely on count. So we will use the insert function, and I will just type in count once more. You realize we have a number of formulas that use count. Our preferred formula is count A. This counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty, which means as long as we have a food item, we should be able to count it. So I'll double click on that, go to my value, then select my food items. I will once again lock that range of cells, hit enter. Notice that the formatting was again off, so I'll use my format painter, paint it as well on that point. Then to look at average sales, when we're looking at average sales, it's really about entering the average formula. I prefer not to enter one cell at a time, but to use my mouse to drag and select my preferred range. So for the average sales, I will once again take, you can always have, say, there are two ways to do an average. You can have your total sales over your total quantities in a single long formula. Alternatively, you can use the two values that we have here, my total sales over my total quantities. So we can just use that quick arithmetic operation of division, and we get our average sales is $6. Then our maximum and minimum sales, for these ones we can use the min and max formulas, which are written as that. So we want to select the range within which we want to find the maximum value, lock it, hit enter. Notice that after I put in the formula and I've used the correct syntax, it's not a must for you to close that bracket. But if you have a number of open brackets preceding the same function that you're putting in, you must close all your brackets. Then we can once again use the mean function, head back to our total price, and we see the smallest value of the sales that we made, which is the 5.9 here. Then calculating the tax rate. Notice that we already have a predefined tax rate, and we have our total sales that we've calculated before. Now you can always put in the formula manually, where you say equals, say, 3% times the total sales, and you get the correct answer. But what about in a scenario where, say, this tax rate maybe is dependent to your various state or your country and is changed maybe to 4%? Notice that your tax rate calculation is not dynamic, and the whole essence of Microsoft Excel is really to simplify, these type of data analysis. So I'll just quickly change that, select my tax rate cell, I will lock it, and I will say times my total sales, which I will then proceed to lock the same cell with absolute referencing, hit enter. So whenever my tax rate does change, which inevitably it does change, it's a very dynamic cell.